Let's head back in time, shall we? Picture this. It's the 1840s, and we're in St. Petersburg, Missouri. It's one of those sleepy little towns right on the banks of the mighty Mississippi River. Now, for most folks, life is pretty quiet, but if you're a boy with a spark of mischief in your eye and a truly wild imagination, well, this town and that river are the greatest playground on Earth. And that question right there, that's the heart of our story. We are diving head first into Mark Twain's classic, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, to see how one boy's schemes and games spiral into this incredible journey that's going to test his courage to the absolute limit. So meet our hero, Tom Sawyer. He's clever, he's imaginative, and he is a constant headache for his guardian, his Aunt Polly. She absolutely adores him, but man, does he test her patience. She's always trying to keep him on the straight and narrow, but Tom, he's a slippery one. You can just hear her now, can't you? What's gone with that boy, I wonder? You, Tom?
Now, Tom's special talent for getting into and right back out of trouble is on full display from page 1. After skipping school to go swimming, he gets handed what sounds like the worst Saturday punishment imaginable: whitewashing a gigantic board fence.
Oh, you can just feel the misery, right? An entire glorious Saturday just gone. But as Tom is staring at this endless wall of wood, that deep, soul-crushing despair starts to spark something else. A brilliant, a truly cunning idea. He's not just going to get out of this chore. Oh no, he's going to make a profit from it.
And this is where we see Tom's genius in action. He starts pretending that whitewashing isn't a chore. It's a rare and special privilege, a kind of high art that not just anyone can do. And you know what? It works. Before long, his friends are literally begging him for a turn, trading him all their little treasures, an apple, a kite, a handful of marbles, all for the honor of doing his work for him. He turns punishment into profit and discovers what Twain calls a great law of human action. Basically, work is just something you have to do, and play is anything you don't have to do. Simple as that.
But Tom isn't just a world-class schemer, he's also a bit of a romantic. The second a new girl, Becky Thatcher, shows up in town, he is completely head over heels. He starts showing off, getting himself into trouble just so she'll notice him, and then, in this quiet moment at school, he kinda awkwardly tries to get engaged to her. It's a little clumsy, but it shows us this whole other, much more vulnerable side to our hero. Okay, so Tom's world of boyhood games and schoolyard crushes is about to get very, very dark. He and his best friend, Huckleberry Finn, the town outcast and son of the town drunk, they decide to sneak out to the graveyard at midnight, as boys do. So there they are, hiding among the tombstones, trying out some superstitious cure for warts when they see 3 men show up: the young Dr. Robinson, the town drunk Muff Potter, and a truly frightening man known as Injun Joe. An argument about money breaks out, and it quickly explodes into a violent struggle.
In all the chaos, Injun Joe pulls a knife and stabs the doctor, killing him. And then he puts the bloody knife into the hand of Muff Potter, who's passed out drunk. He perfectly frames him for murder. And his motive? It's just pure, cold-blooded revenge for something that happened years ago.
Tom and Huck are absolutely terrified. They bolt into the night knowing the kind of danger they're in now. As Huck says, they have to keep quiet. They swear a solemn blood oath right then and there, promising to never, ever tell a soul what they saw. They're convinced Injun Joe would hunt them down and kill them without a second thought.
So the weight of this horrible secret, combined with just feeling misunderstood at home, it all becomes too much for Tom to handle. He gets together with his pal Joe Harper and Huck Finn, and they decide there's only one thing for it. They've got to run away and start a new life of glorious crime.
So they steal a little raft and paddle out to a deserted island in the middle of the Mississippi. They give themselves new names: Tom Sawyer the Black Avenger, Joe Harper the Terror of the Seas, and Finn the Red-Handed. They fish, they swim, they smoke. It is an absolutely perfect life, totally free from any rules or responsibilities.
But back home, of course, their disappearance has caused total panic. When their empty raft is found downriver, the whole town just assumes the worst. They think the boys have drowned. A heavy sadness falls over St. Petersburg as everyone gets ready for the boys' funeral.
This right here is Tom Sawyer at his most dramatic. It's his masterpiece. He secretly paddles back to town one night, finds out about the funeral plans, and cooks up his greatest scheme ever. The 3 dead boys sneak into the back of the church and then reveal themselves right in the middle of their own memorial service. It turns the town's priest into total shock and relief. And for Tom, well, it's the proudest moment of his entire life.
But Tom can't run away from his conscience forever. As the summer goes on, the trial of Muff Potter begins, and the entire town is absolutely convinced that this gentle, harmless man is a cold-blooded murderer.
Night after night, Tom is just tormented by guilt. He tries to soothe his conscience by sneaking little gifts of tobacco and matches to Potter at the jail window, but he knows it's not enough. An innocent man is about to be hanged, and Tom is the only person who can save him.
And this is the moment of truth. Tom has to make a choice, his own safety or doing what he knows is right. Every single day in that courtroom, he can see Injun Joe just sitting there, watching, this silent, deadly threat. Speaking the truth could be a death sentence.
Finally, on the last day of the trial, Tom just can't take it anymore. In a shocking twist, the defense attorney calls him to the stand. With his voice trembling, he starts to tell the real story of what happened that night in the graveyard. The entire courtroom is hanging on his every word, and as Tom gets to the climax of the story and points his finger right at Injun Joe, the man springs to his feet, crashes through a window, and disappears. Just like that, Muff Potter is free, and Tom Sawyer is a hero. But here's the thing. Now a murderer's on the loose, and he knows Tom's name.
Believe it or not, the adventure is still not over. While out hunting for buried treasure, Tom and Huck actually spot Injun Joe, who has found a real box of gold coins. So now the boys know there's real treasure out there, and a killer has it. And this all comes to a head during a big town picnic, when Tom and Becky Thatcher decide to go exploring in the giant maze-like McDougal's cave.
They wander way too far off the path and get completely, hopelessly lost. For days, they're surviving on just a tiny piece of cake, their last candle burning lower and lower. The darkness, the silence, it's terrifying. And then, in that darkness, while he's looking for a way out, Tom's candlelight falls on a figure down a side passage. It's Injun Joe, using the cave as his hideout.
After a terrifying ordeal, Tom manages to find a new way out of the cave, saving both himself and Becky. A couple of weeks later, the town decides to seal the main cave entrance with a heavy, locked door. And Tom realizes with absolute horror that Injun Joe must still be trapped inside. When they finally open the door, they find he's starved to death. But Tom also realizes something else. The cave must be where he hid the treasure. He and Huck go back in, find the gold, over $12,000, which is more money than anyone in that town had ever seen, and they become instant celebrities.
Tom just loves his new hero status and all the wealth. But for Huck, who gets taken in by the very kind widow Douglas, these shackles of civilization feel like a prison. He hates the clean clothes, the proper meals, the constant bells telling him what to do. For a boy who's only ever known total freedom, being civilized is just a kind of torture. So Tom Sawyer's journey takes him from tricking his friends into whitewashing a fence all the way to facing down a murderer and finding a fortune. He confronts his biggest fears, he accepts responsibility, and he really does transform from this mischievous little scamp into a genuine hero. But as Huck's story shows us, that line between freedom and civilization, between wild adventure and responsibility, it's a complicated one, and it leaves you wondering, what is the greatest treasure of them all?